Afternoon. This is my Christmas walk. It's about 1 o'clock. It's Christmas Day and I am on the Upper Braniel Road. This is not a road that I would recommend for walking. It's a busy cut-through road heading out over to Dundonald and that direction anyway, and I'm bouncing up and down onto the grass verge here. That's Sam from church giving me a wave. Don't know what he's doing up around here. This is a playing fields. I think it's is it Knockbreda playing fields. That looks like a 3G pitch. It looks pretty good. Great facilities. No, this is not a road that I would normally walk on. Quite a dangerous road, but it's Christmas Day, so I'm hoping that the traffic will be a wee bit slacker. Yeah, this is Knockbreda Football Club facilities. And this is their car park. I'm going to be eating quite a bit today, so I thought, hey, get out there while you're still able and do a bit of a dander. Dandering up to the in-laws over off the Grantia Road, but if my son comes behind me in the motor, I'll get a wee lift. It's quite busy and the cars are driving quite quickly. So I'll just turn off the camera till I get away up onto the hill. Temperatures between 3 and 4. That's quite pleasant. A lot of frost damage done on the road. Just trying not to get myself knocked down there. And this is a good viewpoint. There's Strangford Loch away over there. And this is drumlin country, and it's rich, fertile country. And we're looking out towards Money Ray there. And everywhere you go in Ulster, the landscape is dotted by these old factory mill chimneys. Some of them were linen mills and flour mills, and it's sad to see all of that industry gone. And sadly, I have to say that there are so many gougers around in Northern Ireland. Look at this, just dumped out from some car or other. And these verges are strewn with litter, carry out cups and such like, plastic bottles, and it's just disgusting. Coming up to Hillmount Garden Centre over on the left hand side of the road here, and there's so many gougers. This is Roger's Meats over to the right here. I'm not a great meat eater myself, but if you want to buy meat in bulk relatively cheaply, that's the place to go. But I was talking about the environment there and litter, and there are so many gougers who don't give two toots about the environment as regards litter. They just throw all at their backside, and they think that because council workers are paid for it, you know, they're somehow providing work for them, and it's totally ridiculous. Look, even in the farmer's field, they don't give two toots. And I have often wondered why it is that our prisons that are full of low category prisoners, why could they not be offered the opportunity and the choice of getting out of prison during the day and doing something worthwhile, collecting litter? Oh, but that would probably impinge upon their human rights. I'd like to think there would be quite a few low category prisoners who would like to get out into the fresh air and litter pick and do something to pay back for their crimes, but they're not given that opportunity. Nobody has the foresight or the will to do that. This is Hillmount Garden Centre, unbelievable facility, and doing so well. And there's a whole history of the garden centre here written by one of the members of the family, I believe. And it's fascinating. The folks who started it came up here, I think it was just a married couple, and they started from scratch. And now, a couple of generations later, it is massive. So this is Hillmount Garden Centre, and a big restaurant in at the back, and they do gifts and they do all sorts of extras, anything to do with gardening, and you'll find it here. Closed for Christmas holidays, reopened Saturday the 20th of December. If you want a nice cup of tea and a scone in nice surroundings, this is the place to come to. And this is Gilnahirk Road, and this is the view that you're getting here. Big quarry up on the height here, if I can get it. I'm looking out towards McKee's restaurant and garden centre away up on another hill. And these rolled up bales, they look like grass, but they're really the stubble. And they'll be used for bedding, so it doesn't matter that they're still out in the fields. And I'm looking down and over to the right, and this is Castlereagh Hills golf course. It's owned by the City Council, I believe, and I think it's a 9-hole, and it is very, very good apparently. I don't play golf, so I know nothing about it, but if you want a cheap round of golf on a decent course, this is the place to come to. And it's just pay as you go, I believe. Looking away into the distance there is Scrabo Tower. Like most of the golf clubs around Belfast, they're doing a Sunday carvery for under 18 quid, which is very good. It's 5 course. I mean, 5 courses for 18 quid. Can't be bad. And I'm looking out across the hill here, and there's a big pile of manure out in the field, and that will be spread over that field to provide fertiliser, natural fertiliser, good stuff. And this is buzzard country. I'm looking way over to Stormont. Man's Corner. The buses used to run up here, but I don't think they do any longer. And this is an extremely dangerous junction. People don't know when to pull out or anything else, and you even find some people driving straight across the junction, and there's usually about an accident here every week. And the signage really needs, the giveaway signage needs to be about 30 yards back rather than right at the crossroads. Yeah, but I have phoned in to the DOE about this, and you know, you get nowhere. So that road off to the left there heads down to Gilnahirk, and this one in front of me, Gilnahirk Road West, heads to Dundonald, and I'm heading out this road, the link road over to Grantia, and hopefully it'll be a wee bit quieter. I'll not be jumping into the ditch so much. Look at this, right the whole length of this road. Here's what you're getting. Potholes. Oh, that's quite a bad one there. And this whole section has been re-tarmacked several times, and they just patch it, and lo and behold, it just breaks up again. And what needs to happen is the whole road needs to be resurfaced, but there isn't the money. I'm just coming along the road here, and this building up to the right is interesting. It's now luxurious apartments, but before these apartments were built, there was a very interesting building sited here, and this was the home of the Gilnahirk spies. This was Gilnahirk listening station and it was one of 7 listening stations scattered right across the UK, and the folks listened in to the World War II enemy radio or radar transmissions, Morse code. This is Lisleen Road East, and they listened in here, and they intercepted all these transmissions and sent them over to Bletchley Park. All 7 of these listening stations scattered around the UK, and they were able to monitor transmissions from the German fleet and the German aircraft. I mean, that's the stuff of myths and legends and all the rest of it. And unfortunately, there's a stupid squirrel. Unfortunately, the planners and the council bulldozed the listening station with so much history, and they just bulldozed it, and it was in good nick. It had been let run down, mind you, and they couldn't care less about the history. And it was a transmission from the Bismarck out in the Atlantic off the west coast of Ireland. It was picked up by Gilnahirk listening post station, and that led to the Bismarck being spotted and eventually sunk, and all that history was let go. You know, the people who planned and there's no foresight, there's no creative thought for the future. They just bulldoze. And I could go into a rant about other incidents like that. And it was either a Sunderland flying boat or one of the other, what's the name of them, I can't remember, flying boats that spotted the Bismarck, and not one of those flying boats was kept for posterity in any Northern Irish museum. It makes you despair sometimes what people were thinking about. And the same thing happened to the German submarine fleet, which was caught and captured and brought into Londonderry, and they were all scuttled off Donegal. Not one was kept. There's a few horses there. Very, very little livestock out in the fields, have to say. A few sheep, a few horses. And I'm looking at fieldfares flying. And I wish they would settle. But they're not. You can see them flying there. I've just remembered the name of the flying boats. They were Catalenas and Sunderlands that spotted the Bismarck. And this is the country lane ahead of me. And I have slid down this without walking, covered in ice, some years. And it always reminds me of Paul McCartney singing The Long and Winding Road. It's a beautiful afternoon, and everybody's in enjoying their Christmas dinner, and I'll be glad, because at least I have used up a few calories before settling down to it. This is prime grazing land, and used for growing grass for fodder as well. It's a bumper year for grass growth. It's big bales, plastic bales are full of grass, and there's a bit of ice actually. So that shows you what the temperature was like last night. Down in that wee hollow, sort of wee microclimate. There's my geography, my A-level geography coming through. And we're looking out onto the golf course here again. And I've seen pheasant in here. Castlereagh Golf, Castlereagh Hills Golf course. I've seen buzzards on these poles as well. There's a typical drumlin for you. Just out over that fence, way in the distance where the trees on top. Typical drumlin, shaped like the top of an egg lying down. And this is drumlin country. And normally you find the farms sitting on the top of the drumlin, protected by a few trees. Yeah, there's a better view of it. And there's another one up there. But I'm talking about taking off my coat here. And whenever I was teaching at Newtonbury High, and that was I stayed there for 30 years. It was a good school. And whenever I was teaching there, I used to marvel at the lads and the girls. And I was looking out the window and you're seeing them going home, and it was bucketing down with rain, and here they were walking along carrying their coats just like me, and I just couldn't understand this. I mean, what kind of fool walks home in their shirt and jumper and carries their coat whenever it's bucketing down with rain? But apparently it was all to do with being fashion conscious, and I just couldn't get it. I just thought it was tomfoolery. And coming down to the junction, there's a brand new house up here to the left. The bio who built it's done a great job. Brilliant location, and a fabulous house. And then there's another fabulous older house away up past the barn. And you're saying to yourself, who lives in a house like this? I've arrived at the junction leading down onto the Gilnahirk Road. Don't know what this road here is called, but we're on Eden Road. And it'll go on to the Gilnahirk Road, and I'm nearly at my in-laws' house whenever I get down there. And there's even midges out. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't believe that. Christmas Day. The weather is so mild. And we're getting a good day today. This is anti-cyclonic type weather. No cloud cover to speak of, and temperature drops whenever the sun goes down. There's what you might call a wee clacking of houses just coming along the road here, and I believe one of them might have been an old school in another life. And I don't want to point, as I say, I don't want to point the video camera and intrude on people's privacy, but I think that second one was an old schoolhouse at one time. And I'm just delighted to be able to do this with my bad hip, which needs a hip replacement. You know, that must be the guts of 3 miles up and down. There's the stables. It must be the guts of about 3 miles, and I've managed it okay. But having said that, they will be paid back time tomorrow whenever the old hip and hips and thighs are throbbing. But there you go. Not bad for somebody of 66 with a hip replacement needed. And I've been waiting for about 6 months now, and I expect to be waiting another 18 months. So I'm told, or maybe even more. But hey, there's people in a lot worse conditions than me, and they've no hope. And I'll not go into that, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm coming down to the crossroads, and there's a few sheep in the field. And that has been such a pleasant run up to my Christmas dinner, and I hope you enjoyed being with me in a sense. I'm only disappointed I wasn't able to video the blooming field fair. They wouldn't sit still for me. There's the sheep. And we're looking away over the hill, out next Dundonald.